I'd like you to imagine that our manager walks up to us one day and says, can you tell me, for example, what percentage of our traffic from our inside company going out to the internet, what percentage of that traffic is, for example, DNS requests, and what portion of that is HTTPS, and what portion of that is ICMP, and so forth? It'd be great if we had the ability in some concise and accurate manner to report on that information. And fortunately for us, if we've taken the steps of implementing NetFlow, we can have our network infrastructure devices gather that high-level information regarding the types of traffic and their quantity that's flowing through the network. So let's chat for a moment about various versions of NetFlow. There was version 1, and NetFlow was initially created by Cisco systems because customers had a desire and need to see the types of flows that are flowing through their network. So there's version 1, then version 5, and version 7, and version 8, and version 9. And it's version 9 where they started really getting creative with how and what we can monitor and how much we're going to monitor. And version 9 in a Cisco environment is referred to as flexible NetFlow because it's very flexible about exactly what type of patterns you want to match on and what type of flows you want to identify going through the network. And because flexible NetFlow was pretty darn cool and is pretty darn cool, there's now an open standard for it as well from the IETF, and it's called IPFIX. And that acronym is for IP Flow Information Export. And at the end of the day, it has most of the features that flexible NetFlow has, but it's kind of an open standard, so pretty much any system can use it. So when you think of version 9 of NetFlow or IPFIX, which also can be referred to as NetFlow 10. Just be aware that version 9 and version 10 have very similar capabilities, with IPFIX, aka NetFlow 10, being an open standard. Now, with version 9 and version 10, there is additional configuration that has to be done in order to get it all set up and working. So with the older versions of NetFlow, it's more simple to set up, and with version 9 and with the NetFlow 10, there's more pieces involved. But at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're telling, for example, an interface, let's say this is gig 0/0 on router 1 here. We're going to specify on that interface that we like it to pay attention and cache the information regarding the types of traffic and the addresses involved and the protocols involved for that traffic. And that's an example of enabling NetFlow on an interface. Again, with some of the older versions of NetFlow, it's super easy to do that. And with version 9 or NetFlow 10, there's additional specific steps that specify exactly what we're looking for instead of just taking the defaults. But at the end of the day, once we enable NetFlow on that interface, we specify we want to keep a record, if you will, of traffic going in and out, including layer 3 addresses, layer 4 protocols, the applications involved. And as a result, what it does, it puts that into a cache. Think of a cache like a little piece of memory that's only so big. And then periodically, it'll take that information from the cache regarding the flows it saw and then ship it over to a centralized server. And it'll do that on a timed basis. So it'll put it in the cache, and then after a short period of time, send it over to the server. Now the server is referred to as a NetFlow collector. And then now with all that data being aggregated here at the NetFlow collector, you and I can go ahead and log in here to the NetFlow collector and generate reports and get information regarding the flows of data that we've seen in the network and their quantities. And the cool thing is with the NetFlow collector, we could be collecting data here at router 1 at this interface and over here at router 2 at this interface. And again, with NetFlow Collector, we're not sending actual full packets of data. So if there's 10 gigabytes that go through our network, we're not sending 10 gigabytes over to our NetFlow Collector. We're sending like the summary information regarding what was in that traffic. For example, here was the DNS, here was the HTTPS, here was the ICMP, and so forth, including the IP addresses involved. And then we can create reports regarding that network traffic and those flows, or look for issues or problems or events that may look like a security breach. For example, we have a computer here that at 3 a.m. is sending tons of data back and forth out to an unknown server on the internet. That might raise a red flag, and that could be forwarded over to our SIM, where we could correlate that, have another aggregation spot for those security events. But getting back to the part about the NetFlow collector, its job is to go ahead and simply get that information from the router, in this case, router 1, and then we log in here and take a look. So in the interest of reinforcing the concept of NetFlow, let's go down in our lab topology to router 1, and let's implement NetFlow and take a look at the results. So here's our lab environment. Let me open up the topology, and later in this set of videos, I'll be putting you on a lab as well. So there's our topology, and let's go ahead and let's set up router 1 with its gig 00 and tell it we want to run NetFlow and start caching information regarding flows that are coming into that interface and going out of that interface. So to get to the console for R1, we'll go to our server. We'll double click on server 1. And here on server 1, I've got a notepad document that's going to walk us through the commands to do exactly that, to configure NetFlow on R1 gig 00. So here's R1. So I'll just go ahead and copy this part of the configuration, right click, put it in my buffer, and then go to R1. And with R1 selected here, right click to paste it in. So effectively, we've just enabled NetFlow on gig 00 for flows that are coming in on that interface, that's the ingress, and flows that are going out of that interface, which is the egress. So I'll put a little arrow for ingress right there, and a little arrow for egress right there on the right-hand side. So in on this interface or going out of this interface. So now that we have this IP flow information being collected on that interface, we'd also want to specify where our server is. So as part of the additional configuration, we'd specify the IP address of the NetFlow collector so that periodically this router could take that cached information about the flows and send them over to the collector. So to keep this in a timely fashion in this demonstration, let's just go ahead and generate some traffic going through that gig 00 interface, and then we can show the local cache here on router 1. So as an example, let's go to the client PC right here, and let's send some traffic up to the server. So we'll double click on Client Nug to go ahead and bring up that interface. And there it is. And let's go to a command prompt. And what we could do is we could go ahead and do a trace command. For example, tracert space -d to the server. That'll show us the path. Now, that traffic that's being sent from a Windows computer behind the scenes at layer 4, it's using ICMP. In fact, it kind of looks like a ping request. Or if we went to a web page on that server, let's go ahead and bring up a browser. And we'll go to http://23.1.2.100. And assuming that has a web server running, oh, and it doesn't. So at the moment, the web server is not running over on the server. So even though that traffic is being sent out, the server wasn't running, so it didn't respond to that. Let's also try a DNS request. We can do it with the NS lookup for server 1 and press enter. And this is going out to So the server we're trying to reach is, I guess it's not running DNS at the moment. And that's the reason that we're coming back without a response, because it shows right here it timed out. So let's send some pings. We'll do a ping -n. Let's go ahead and send 100 of them to 23.1.2.100. My goal is just to send some traffic through so we can look at the cache locally, the NetFlow cache locally here on router 1, and see those flows of traffic. Actually, we don't need 100. I'll do a Control-C to stop that here at the Windows client. Now let's go back to our server, server 1. Let's go back to R1. And to see the NetFlow cache here on router 1 locally, we could use the command show IP cache flow. So there's the command show IP cache flow. Here it's showing the packet distribution size regarding the flows it's identified. Has some stats on the flows and the cache. Then if we scroll down, it's showing us details. So here we have TCP-www. We had 18 flows. Here's UDP DNS. We had 117 flows. And for ICMP, we had 15 flows. So if we look at this one right here, it's showing the source address 23.1.2.100, which would be the server responding back to the client at 10.10.0.50. There's the interfaces involved for the source and destination for that flow of traffic. Here in the protocol column, that is showing the protocol numerically. So ICMP is protocol 1, and TCP is protocol 6, and UDP is protocol 17, but that's a decimal 17, and this is showing us in hexadecimal. So 11 in hexadecimal is 17 in decimal. Again, the cool thing about NetFlow is it collects this information about flows of traffic and the quantities, and then it can ship that over to the collector, and then we have a central repository at the collector where we can create reports, build baselines, and see the types of traffic that are being sent over the network. And as far as software that can be used as a NetFlow collector, there are many options. There's some open source options. There's also some commercial options, including this one from SolarWinds called the NetFlow Traffic Analyzer. And so if we had 10 or 20 devices across our enterprise that were running NetFlow, they can send all their reports from their caches regarding the flows they're collecting to this centralized location, where we then correlate and aggregate all that information and be able to build graphs and reports based on what's happening in our network. So that's an example of how we could leverage NetFlow as a monitoring tool to help build a baseline, which also can be helpful if we know what normal looks like. If there's a situation that's abnormal, we could have systems that report to us say, whoa, this is out of spec or beyond normal. Hey, thanks for watching, and subscribe right here to get the latest information from CBT Nuggets. And if you're new to or considering a career in the world of IT, head on over to CBT Nuggets and sign up for a free trial.